The Asics Novablast 4, bang, is the Goldilocks of daily trainers. Goldilocks? What do you mean? Yeah, let me explain.
Look, on one hand, you've got cushioning, and the gold standard for that, for me, Nike's Invincible 3. And then on the other hand, you've got something a bit firm, Puma's Velocity 3. I say Goldilocks because the Asics Novablast 4 is that sweet spot. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Let's talk about it.
My name is Aubrey, and I'm a runner, and I'm good with being me. Normally, I'm at home in the studio, but spring is starting to make an appearance, so I thought I would bring you outside with me. I want to review Asics Novablast 4 after doing all of my running this week, and that entails 3 runs. A long run, a speed session, which I really enjoyed, and an easy run. Trying to put this thing through its paces, literally. And so I want to deliver my view. But first, let's start with the 3 things we always love to talk about. And one of these definitely makes this a Goldilocks. Look, the first thing, let's talk about the price. £135 or $140. That is Goldilocks stuff. Secondly, the weight. A 9.5 UK for a daily trainer at this weight? That's Goldilocks. Stay there, stay there. That's Goldilocks.
Let's stack high. Now this is going to be significant when we talk about the midsole. 41.5 at the back, 33.5 at the front, still giving us an 8 mil drop.
This is the first shoe I've received directly from Asics for a review, and I want to express my gratitude for that. However, that does not mean I'm not going to point out the weaknesses. And this is the biggest one. Straight from the box, you don't get the experience of what this shoe actually is. And on my first run,
I honestly felt like I'd made a mistake accepting to review this because I had nothing to say, because it felt very firm. And what everyone else has been saying about the shoe wasn't the experience.
On my second run, it felt slightly different. I felt like it came into its own on my third run. Now, why is that a bad thing? For me, I would rather have a shoe that gives you the experience of what the design intention is straight from the box. Because for some people, they might not give it 2, 3, 4 runs to give it a chance to break in and give it its intended feel. I think that to me is a very big drawback. As always, let's start breaking the shoe down from the top, working our way down. Let's start with the heel. Perfect. The padding is just right. I like that there's a heel tab. I love the fact that actually the back of this extends right into your Achilles, and the feeling of that is a very good hold. I've got nothing bad to say about the heel. The tongue, Goldilocks, gusseted. Why is it Goldilocks? It's got that perfect balance between the right amount of padding that you want on your tongue, but not too plushy that it contributes to that weight. It's just right. But of course, the gussetedness, fully gusseted tongue. Asics, keep doing what you're doing.
Laces. Flat profile laces, simple and lightweight, and very nice to the touch. They've got holes in the upper for the eyelets, and they've reinforced those holes. It just works. I tied them down across all 3 runs, and I didn't have any problems whatsoever. They didn't come apart. It's important to kind of point out why I kind of dwell on laces, especially in combination with the tongue we talked about. When your lacing system doesn't work very well, it can be quite painful when you're running because it adds pressure to the top of your foot. They've thought about that with the padding of the tongue, but also just the feel of these laces. I can't fault it.
The upper. If there is one thing that is telling of the price, £135 is the upper. It's a very simple upper. What sort of makes it get away with it is the colorway. But in terms of the actual upper itself, it does the job, don't get me wrong. It's highly breathable, but it's a very simple if it's not broken, don't fix it kind of upper, especially when you compare it to the third version of the shoe. And I'm not talking about the colorways as such. It's an engineered mesh. It functions as highly breathable, but it's very, very simple. If there is a minus I can put to it, it's probably that. I can't fault it, but I wish they would have done a bit more with the upper. The midsole. Slightly confusing if I'm honest with you. FF Blast Plus. Now, this midsole is used across several of Asics lineup. When you look at the Nimbus 25 and 26 and this one, all of them will say FF Blast Plus. However, it's different variants of this foam. And that's important to kind of note because you might think it gives you the same ride. It certainly doesn't. The question I have though is why is it taking us 41.5 mils to give you this experience? I think the formulation of FF Blast Plus that was in the Gel Nimbus 25 would give you less stack, less weight, and therefore high contention against other daily trainers and putting Asics in a very unique spot. However, let's talk about the feel of this. Like I mentioned before, I didn't like the fact that it took me several runs to get to this Goldilocks spot. The weakness that might indicate is if I keep running, how many more Ks is it going to take for me to lose that Goldilocks spot if it took me several Ks to get to it? I don't know just yet, but I will talk to that once I get to 100K. And believe me, I will.
The outsole. I think maybe this is one of the things that I wasn't too happy about. When you look at the outsole, you look at two things. Resilience to stop wear and tear in the midsole, but secondly, the grip for the runner. I've got no issues with the grip at all across all runs. I did it in across different terrains as well as different weather on a rainy day too, and it performed very well. But when you look at the coverage of this outsole, I wonder, could Asics have done more? They definitely have in other shoes. I would have loved to see a bit more coverage. Now, with that said, it is adequate. It does work. But when you look at the middle part, when that bit starts to wear, it feels like that middle bit is not as covered as it should be. With that said though, I can only talk about it once I really try the shoe out in anger. I didn't have any complaints in terms of grip, but then again, I didn't complain about the Asics Gel Nimbus 25, and it seems like the whole world did. So maybe don't listen to me on that. It's just me. Summary, let's close. Should you buy this shoe? Who it's for? Listen, the summary here is, for the price, for a current version, as at launch, £135 or $140, you will be hard pressed finding a better daily trainer. Who should buy it? I think everybody just trying to get miles in, somebody that wants that sweet spot of a daily trainer that's not too cushy or too firm. It's that Goldilocks, like I said. This will definitely be the shoe to get. Head to the clouds, feet on the ground. And I'll see you on the next one.